Welcome back to In Real Life with Ellie and Ross, and we have Daisy here, but we
Daisy's
also have a very, very special guest with us today. We have the clinical nutritionist, Sally O'Neill.
Welcome.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much. I'm so pumped.
We're excited.
Thanks for joining us today.
I feel like this needs to be like a 6-part series already. Because like, how do you focus on how do you cover all the stuff that you go over with your client? You see all different types of stuff. And then how do you hone in on that for an hour?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
hard.
really hard.
It's hard, but if you have a consult with me, you'll work it out. It depends. I always say it's bio-individual to the person, right? So some people have got a certain set of symptoms, other people's have got a million others. So it's very hard to condense into 60 minutes because I could go into sleep and hormones and like a million other things. Obviously, nutrition's the main key part, but yeah, it's hard to cover it all off, I think, in a useful. So I'll give you my juicy parts.
Yeah.
How about that? I'll give you
Lucky
my top
us.
line,
Yeah.
most effective strategies
Yeah.
in 60 minutes.
We get
Yeah,
to
cool.
pick your brain for like an hour and a bit. It's
Yeah,
so good.
and so
Or even just a little bit longer.
So on that, what's gotten you to where you are today? Tell us about you've been, your upbringing. What was your first job? What
Yeah,
were you
deep,
always
real
interested in this
deep.
space? Like where how'd you start?
Never liked food, wasn't interested in it. Used to have a terrible diet. I used to eat cereal 3 times a day.
Nice. What cereal? Fruit Loops?
Cocoa Pops.
Oh, nice.
Or
Yeah.
when I was in my diet phase, everyone will remember this. Special K had a diet that was 2 bowls a day, a Special
Also
K.
did.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
God.
it was like a full regime. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it was just a UK thing, but it was like 2 bowls a day and you'll lose weight.
No, it was big here.
Oh,
My mum
wild.
used to eat Special K.
Had a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
of approved health ticks on there as well.
Absolutely,
From
yeah. Heart
that looked
health, we're
official.
good. We got
Yep, yep,
fiber.
yep.
We got
Yeah.
fake
Yeah.
vitamins in there.
Yeah.
Cool. So I did that for quite a while because when I went to uni, I didn't want to cook. I couldn't cook. That's a lie. I could not cook. I didn't know how to put heat to food. So I was like, I know, I'll just eat cereal. And I could have it in my bedroom and no one would steal it, right? Because university halls is
Yeah.
savage. People stealing your food out your fridge. So that's what I did for quite a while. And I wasn't my leanest self because I would eat chocolate in between and whatever. So I was at uni, I studied a business degree. I went to work for the National Health Service out of that, and I was in obesity prevention. So weird beginning, but ended up making sense to me, which was like basically triaging people for bariatric surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Then I
So
was
that's the stage before
that was after uni and while I was in the UK. So
Yeah.
I think I moved to the UK when I was 24. So this was straight after I was like maybe 21, 22.
Yeah,
First job. My first real job was in a cafe. I never did Macca's,
Yeah.
but I started at 13. So I've got like a bit of a
Yeah,
hustle
yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Started work illegally at 13. And then, so I did the degree, went into the job with the National Health Service. And then I was on a maternity contract, and the government have this great plan of like trying to save money by just stopping all renewal of hires across the UK at any time. They just do it any time. So no one can hire anyone new in the NHS because we've run out of money. And they also stop renewals of contracts. And so my contract came to an end on this maternity thing, and they were like, oh, we actually can't renew your contract. You're jobless. Cool. So I went traveling with my then partner and came to Australia. I think we were just talking about this, went to Melbourne for a little bit, landed in Sydney. It wasn't my dream scenario. I thought it was going to be really
Yeah.
hot.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple of ways. Hey.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Temperature and
I was expecting
And
shirtless men,
men.
guys, and I did not get it. I was very disappointed. I was like, the coconuts, the shirtless men, the tan. I was like, everyone's walking around in black suits and holding
Yeah.
coffee, and like, this is not what I thought.
Yeah.
You just
So-
needed to come to the Gold Coast.
Absolutely. I had got sold a dream. So I landed in Sydney, but then I didn't end up coming up to the Gold Coast because I got offered sponsorship in a job, which was, it was actually business management training, which was a bit random. Did that for 2 years, was incredibly bored. Because I was bored, God love the guy who was looking after that business because he sponsored me, but I was like literally so bored. And I started a blog because I was bored. And I was making recipes that my mom had sent me to survive instead of eating cereal. I was like, there's no microwave meals here, Mom. There's like no Jamie Oliver microwave meals. What
Yeah.
am I going to do?
Yeah.
And she sent me how to do a stir fry, how to boil an egg, and how to cook a piece of chicken. I was like, I got this. I'm cool. So I started cooking. I realized that with Mum's recipes, they were actually like very British. There's sugar in everything, even if it's savory.
Yeah.
Jam in bolognese.
Yeah.
Apparently
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Tea with everything.
Custard on everything.
Butter.
Like
Yeah.
butter,
Yeah,
cream,
yeah, yeah.
you got it.
Yeah.
So I started cutting all that stuff out because number one, I didn't have the money for it. I was like backpacker essentially. So I was like, well, I'm going to chop all the extra bits out and just keep it lean.
Mm.
And then I ended up, so random, I ended up losing 14 kilos from
Wow.
not eating garbage and actually starting to learn to cook for myself. And I was
Over a
like,
period
That's
of how long?
unbelievable.
about 9 months.
Okay.
Not a particularly long time for such a decent
yeah.
amount of weight loss.
Yeah.
And I was also like, I've cracked the code. Like, I have cracked a code. I'm not dieting. I'm not killing myself in the gym. This is cool. And at the time, Instagram had just started. This is like 2012. Instagram had just started. I must have been an early adopter at that stage. And I was documenting my experience that I'm cooking this and I'm posting selfies in the gym for the first time. And yeah, my weight loss kind of happened. Everyone was validating me and like, oh, you look amazing. Took it too far, got like an 8-pack
Yeah.
and had what was then diagnosed with orthorexia. So that was kind of like my rock bottom. So orthorexia as opposed to anorexia, which everyone will be familiar with.
Yeah.
Orthorexia is the dysregulated focus, if you want to think of it like that, or obsession with having a healthy diet. And so I had exercise addiction where I would feel incredibly guilty if I didn't go to the gym, and I would do as much exercise as humanly possible in a day. So I'd do 2 hours in the gym before brekkie. I'd do lunchtime run, and then I'd go to the gym after work. So it was all like,
Jeez.
how many steps can I get in? How much exercise can I do? It was
Yeah.
just constant,
Yeah.
not sleeping enough, high anxiety, and then eating like 2-3 boiled eggs in a day's food. And that'd be it. So I'm like, oh, I'm
Wow.
being so healthy.
Yeah.
And just taking it far too far from learning about nutrition on social media.
Yeah.
So it then became my mission to be like, I'm actually going to educate myself properly.
Daisy
So did you
loves
find did stuff pop up on like Instagram and you're like, oh, I'm gonna implement that.
Right.
I'm gonna do
So I
that.
implemented it to the point because I listened to so many different people. Carbs are bad. Fat's bad. This is bad. This is bad.
Yeah.
I ended up freaking myself out to the point of like everything wasn't suitable for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than sticking to one school of thought and saying, okay, I'm going keto or okay, I'm going plant-based. I just said, okay, I'm going to do it all.
Mm.
And I literally landed myself with a bit of protein and some veg.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're thinking about anti-nutrients and all this stuff that really overwhelmed me. So I was like, no, this is silly. I got diagnosed. I'd lost my period. I lost my hair. My hormones were a mess. I got diagnosed with clinical depression, didn't get out of bed for 3 months and was like, I've done this to myself. Like, I have caused this from misinformation
Yeah.
and from applying the incorrect tactics, and I can get myself out of it. So I went to a psych, worked through it for probably about a year until my weight regained. I went down to 43 kilos for context. So I was
Wow.
very, very
Wow.
low. And then for now, in a healthy way, I'm at like 55, 56 for my height. So you
Yeah.
can imagine like I didn't look great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just had incredibly low energy. I wasn't having, the big ticker for me was that I lost my period.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not ideal at like 27.
No.
So went to the GP and they were like, yeah, we're definitely dealing with a problem here. So went to the psychologist, started to get healthy again, weight regained. And then I was like, you know what? I can't have, so I got approached to do cookbooks like in the middle of all of this because
Wow.
Instagram was growing.
Yeah.
And I felt like a fraud, you know, like the cognitive dissonance of I'm putting recipes out there that are healthy and balanced. They were actually healthy and balanced, but I wouldn't eat them because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's too many calories, there's too much avocados, and I felt like a fraud. So I was like, no, I'm going to go and get a degree. Couldn't afford it. Went and hustled with the uni and said, I'll be an influencer if you give me a sponsorship deal.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
And I got 50% off my fees. And I was like, right, I'm locked in.
That's
Doing
unreal.
clinical nutrition. Did that for 5 years as I was doing food. I switched to food photography. So, because one of my books did really well. Ended up working for Jamie Oliver doing his photography in Australia, which was really cool. And did some other chefs and turned that into my full-time gig. And then got my degree and opened my clinic. And what I've noticed for me is that entire journey led me to exactly the method that I use with everyone now, which is very simply 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods, which is just a really great baseline of building a healthy relationship with food. And I think, honestly, that's what people are missing is just understanding balance, understanding basic macros. I mean, you would know about that being PT in a past life. But then the biggest driver, I think, is adherence. And adherence comes from balance. Because if we go too far on one extreme, as I very much experienced eating cereal, or to the other extreme of eating 3 eggs a day and over-exercising, I've had both experiences of being not incredibly, but very overweight and unhealthy, and then very underweight and unhealthy, and then found the middle ground of like, where is my body actually happiest and thriving
Yeah.
to get to this situation that I'm in now where I get to help other people with my 2 extreme experiences.
Yeah.
Because everyone's on a spectrum somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So they'll often, what I see at the moment is that
So you've been doing that for now how long? So you did your
Oh,
degree 5 years and now you've been running.
yeah, so I've been doing my official clinic opened, I think in, let me think about this, 2021,
Okay.
22,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been like 4 years, I think, but all online. I don't
Yep.
generally do people in person because I have people from kind of all over come
Yep.
around, like
Yeah.
Dubai and Singapore and whatnot, which is fun. I love it. But what I noticed when I opened my clinic, I expected for some reason that it was going to be the hot 20 to 30-year-olds who just wanted to lose a couple of kilos and wanted to get shredded and be bikini bodies, right? I was like, cool, this is my audience. I'm excited. And then what I realized is everybody who came to me was women 35 and over dealing with body composition changes, low mood, low libido, not understanding why they're not attracted to the husband anymore, relying on wine, skipping breakfast, hormones are out of whack, and just not, and like, but then the bloods would be like, yeah, bloods are fine. So they're feeling really dismissed. There's nothing wrong with me. I can't work out. I'm just feeling off. I'll just push through. And then they come to me and say, hey, I actually think it's my diet. We're like, well, it's actually like so many layers deeper than that. But
Yeah.
we'll start with diet.
I think so many women, like you were saying, you went from one extreme to another. I think that's pretty much every woman out there. I went
100%.
through that. I went through the diet of having milk and cereal and like all of those foods as a kid and not being like, I was healthy-ish, but we were still kind of just fed what our parents gave us.
Totally.
And then I went through a phase of having those meal replacement shakes because I felt like I
and you're
wasn't
like
skinny enough.
17 or something, right?
I was a child.
16?
Like I was, 16, 17.
Yeah.
So I wasn't eating. I was having meal replacement shakes. And then when I left high school, I went and I started modeling full time. So I took my health and wellness really seriously. I had a naturopath, I had trainers, I had access to all of these amazing people over time. But I think everyone can relate back to not knowing what they're doing at that point in time and being very, very lost. And as we get older, our bodies change as well. Our gut has a huge reason to do with things, our hormones. And one thing I really was so excited to talk to you about today was periods.
Yes.
So exciting.
Oh, you're like, I can't
Yeah.
relate, but I'm here to listen.
But
we'll talk about male menopause just to even
But
it
the
off.
thing, I mean,
Yeah.
it affects me.
It does.
because
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
know what's going on with us.
Well, the more I do
Agreed.
know what's going on, the better
Yeah.
I can help.
Empathize,
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Or just distance yourself,
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm out for
exactly.
a week.
But I think as time goes on, like I used to have a lot of trouble with my periods. My naturopath came in and he supplemented things and gave me foods to help me fix it because I had very heavy periods. They were super painful and they'd last for like 7 days. Now it's like sometimes depending on how much stress I have and everything, my luteal phase can be pretty shitty and I might get like some cramping before my periods. And that fluctuates sometimes. But all in all, it's generally pretty fine. I know a lot of women out there really struggle with their periods.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of conversations online from people, and I feel like there's so much misinformation thrown around about periods. And what I really wanted to know was, should you be eating specific foods for each phase of your menstrual cycle and taking specific supplement? Like, what would you say the best foods
Sure.
and supplements would be for, say, like ovulation, and then you have, so wait, there's 4. There's
Got
ovulation,
it. Yeah.
luteal,
Luteal,
menstrual,
follicular, and menstrual.
follicular, and then menstrual. Okay, I thought it was luteal
Oh,
and
not
then
in
menstrual.
order. Sorry, I'm just reading them out.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
yeah. So
I'm going
you're like,
crazy in my head. What? So what I would love to know is how should we best supplement with
Manage.
foods? Yeah,
absolutely
with foods and
throughout the
supplements.
cycle.
Yeah.
And to help hormones and make sure they're regulated. First thing I would say is everyone is so different, right? So getting to know your cycle is really important. Getting to know whether it's heavy, whether it's long for you, whether it's changed recently. What is a normal cycle? Is it 28 days? Are you experiencing a longer luteal phase? Like what is normal for you? Because it's all right me sitting here and saying, oh, in the first 14 days, you should eat A, B, and C. But it might be that you have a shorter phase, in which case maybe that's not right for you. The second thing is your period is your supposed to be regular, monthly report card.
Yeah.
So rather than going and having bloods, most of the time, if there's something off within your body, it'll show up in your period. So you'll know
Yeah.
if you have a stressful month, often it can be delayed.
Yeah.
Or if you travel, it can get dysregulated. Or
Now, girl,
if you
that
eat
period is on time every
You're
time.
good now. You're good. Okay. Well, but then like some people, you know, they might have more sugar. Say a lady who has endometriosis or PCOS, where
Yeah.
there's inflammation present a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And then they may kind of contribute to that inflammation by having more sugar, more alcohol, for example.
Yeah.
That month, they'll see a change in the cycle.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, it was heavier, or it was more uncomfortable, or it was more painful, or it was longer.
Yeah.
I had more clots, I had more this, more bloating. And so it is that monthly report card, which is great because we can say, okay, we need to baseline data everything for ourselves. Everybody is bio-individual, right? So knowing that you might have a 28-day cycle on the dot,
Yeah.
timed perfectly, cool. Mine definitely isn't that.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to kind of pay attention to their own rhythm.
Yeah.
But there is obviously some standard science that kind of fits into the different phases. So I'll go by days because I think it's easier for people to understand rather than remembering luteal and follicular and all that because we're not all scientists.
Yeah.
So days 1 to 14, day 1, first day of your bleed. People get that confused. So day 1 is always the first day of your bleed. Day 14 is ovulation. So halfway through your cycle, you ovulate. Then we have, in theory, another 14 days, and then we bleed again.
Yeah.
So days 1 to 14, your estrogen's elevated, which means that we're actually more carb tolerant. We love that, right? Or insulin sensitive, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So we can eat more whole food, ideally whole food carbs. When we ovulate, we're in need of more things like zinc because you'll know this if you're cycling naturally, is that your libido, you'll love this part, skyrockets. So like as we're ovulating, we're trying to get pregnant naturally, right? So we're like, okay, we're going to seek out men, we're going to seek out orgasm, sex, etc. We need zinc for a healthy system there. So high zinc foods like oysters and magnesium and all that yummy stuff is really good for ovulation.
It also helps Botox and Dysport last longer too.
That's so, girls, pay attention and save some money because that stuff's expensive. Yeah. So, and then the second half of your cycle, your progesterone's elevated, your estrogen's declining. Progesterone is a thermogenic hormone, right? So the good side of that, what that means is we're actually burning more calories at rest. However, it then makes us more hungry. So we're probably going to eat slightly higher calorie foods. We're probably going to crave more comfort stuff, which is the more processed carbohydrates. But we're actually less sensitive to pulling in sugars from the bloodstream with insulin changing in that second half. So we really kind of want to steer clear from more carbohydrates and focus on fats and proteins in that second half, in theory. Now, this is not a blanket statement for everyone. It's just a nice way of going about managing blood sugar regulation and knowing where am I in my cycle and why have I got cravings.
Yeah.
What I get clients to do, and I urge everyone to do at home as a female who's cycling, is most people forget when they're going to get more hungry, and then they get surprised every month when the period comes and they go, that's why I was awful for 3 days, or that's why I ate the house out, and there's no food left.
Yeah. That's
And
me.
it
That I
shocks
eat the
us.
house down.
Everybody shocks us every month, and then we go, that's why.
No, I know. So
Oh,
I
okay,
try
I'm
and like
pleased you know.
I try and prepare myself so I'm not like
Good.
going through every single thing in the house.
Yes.
And I'm not encouraging him
Let's
to like
move the chocolate away
to
from the
go
home.
out and buy things that we have in the house that I can.
It doesn't take much to encourage me to get some.
He's the worst.
Snacks, so.
He is legitimately the
Messina.
worst. Yeah. But
So
yeah.
I get people to put a calendar reminder 3 to 5 days before the cycle because they forget.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's be smart now. You're going to want more foods. Let's go for like more soups, more hydration, more warming things that feel nourishing and calming, and like slow cooked meats and all that kind of stuff. So if you can do that and you can be bothered, it's a good time to do that.
Yeah.
You are going to want more sweets. That's fine. It doesn't need fixing. Everyone comes to me and goes, oh, I want chocolate for my period. I'm like, you are having a human experience. Welcome.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to.
What are some of your best hacks around that? Like,
About
obviously,
wanting chocolate.
yeah, like just being, I get like, you know that it's coming, so be prepared. Don't go for like the store-bought crap and the stuff that's going to make you break out and feel like trash and contribute to your
Absolutely.
period possibly being worse as well.
Yeah.
Like, what would be your
One of my favorite snacks,
Go-tos.
I will tell you, one of my like pre-period snacks that I have all the time, and it's super random, is because I want sugar, right? And I want like the quick hit. I'm sure you've experienced wanting sugar, but
All the time.
pre-period.
He's worse than me, girl.
I'm always pre-period.
When your PMS is strong, sir, this is what you should do. So go and grab a ripe banana that's like extra sugary, right? So they're really sweet. Stick it in the microwave for 60 seconds and mix it so it goes like jam.
Yeah.
And then get not a ton, but get a good tablespoon of raw cacao powder
Yeah.
and throw that in and mix it. And it turns into like this jammy chocolate mousse. And it's so rich and so sweet, but it's full of magnesium, potassium, like good stuff that's only going to serve you.
Yeah.
And there's only so many bananas you
Yeah.
can eat, even if it's mushed up. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm a bit over it now. So I would like, you can have 3 bananas and see what happens. You'll probably be pretty stuffed. Whereas if you
Yeah.
have 3 chocolate bars, I could be like, and then bring some
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. You can just keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that would be my hot hack, is to do that. And also the sugar-free hot chocolates by Avalanche. If someone's got a craving, I'm like, that's what I'll go for like a little dessert that's obviously not incredible for gut health, but it keeps the sweet 80-20, right? Like pick your battles.
Yeah.
And then dark chocolate, just enjoy it. Don't stress it. Portion control. That's the only issue. I
My
find.
favorite ones are the Lindt, either like the raspberry or the orange.
Do you like the chili one?
Yeah, I actually don't mind it, but I think I go for like something like a little bit more sweet during my period. And then I have like these are for kids, but like, the flavored gelatin powder.
Yeah. See,
And
that's
I put
a great
them
choice.
because it's like collagen. You're eating
Such a great
collagen
choice.
gummies, but
Yeah.
there's no sugar in them.
Yeah.
And they taste like they're not like amazing, but they taste good. And it's something that I can just like snack on if I feel like something sweet that I don't feel
Perfect.
bad
You
about
don't feel
eating.
bad about it. Yeah.
And it's not going to make my skin bad, and it's not going to, make me feel like crap.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I like. This is a more processed option, but the 0 sugar icy poles.
Yeah.
They've got like
The
5 or
Zappos?
6 calories
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
He loves them.
Sign me up. I can have 3 of those and not feel bad. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can keep going. And they take
Yeah.
a while to eat. So when
Yeah.
you've got that urge of like, I need everything in front of me now,
Yeah.
because it takes that time, normally the sensation has passed and the urgency disappears, and you kind of like, I'm not that bothered now. I don't need 5 chocolate bars. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just about like sitting with the emotion and like letting it work through you, and then being like, no, if I just took a few breaths for half an hour, I'd be fine. And that helps me a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's different tactics, right? And like, just, whole food chocolate, just do it. Like, if
Yeah.
you'd like milk, have a little bit, just have it in moderation.
Yeah.
Treat size things are yummy, like the little Freddo frogs, the
Yeah.
banjo bears. Love
And
those.
it's
I'm
so
a sucker
easy
for
to say,
those.
just a few in theory.
If I
Yeah,
say
but-
to people, have 2 squares of chocolate in you and you've got PMS, good luck. Like, you've got more self-control than I do, because
Oh,
it's just a joke. It's
yeah.
like,
yeah.
it's not happening.
Yeah.
What I used to do when I was in my unhealthy phase was I would get a bar of chocolate and I would microwave it.
Yeah.
Because I could get more in because it's liquid. So I'd be like, I can drink a bar, like a family-sized bar, in about sub 60
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh
it's
my
done.
God.
But it's just more delicious when it's
Yeah.
warm. I don't know.
Yeah.
More like feels warmer.
It's like, it must-
Yeah, it does.
Weird.
Dark
Don't try that at
chocolate.
home, kids. Don't try that at home.
Dark chocolate with strawberries too.
Oh,
melt
yeah.
the dark
Yum.
chocolate
Bit of
down, have it with
fondue.
strawberries,
Yeah.
and like it feels like you're having like a proper treat dessert, but it's not
Yes.
as bad because it's like
Yeah.
just dipped, and you're not
And there's
eating
some
whole
really healthy
blocks.
collagen hot chocolates out there now that aren't the sugary ones, that like the sugar-free one that I just mentioned that's got like lots of stevia in. But I think there's 3 or 4 brands on the shelf now that are collagen-based hot chocolates that have got a decent serve of protein in, which is what we need to focus on as women, because we're just terrible at getting enough protein in.
Yeah,
So looking for little hacks like that, I think, is really helpful. And then if you need to add extra chocolate because it's just not kicking it for you, because you are seeking magnesium and minerals,
yeah,
just an extra tablespoon or so of dark cacao just to make it extra rich. Super simple way of doing it.
Do you know we did this the other day? We were making something, and it was like, I'm gonna make like healthy brownies. They ended up not being healthy at all.
You're like, we
Because I was like, oh, I don't have
That
any
was
honey.
so
Let
good,
me
though.
just put the icing sugar that we have left over from something that we made the other day, and I was like, it's not healthy anymore. But screw it, who
close
cares?
enough. 20%. Yeah, close enough's good enough.
The
It's fine.
intention was there.
Yeah, good.
What
So-
would you suggest in terms of like, because we've talked about food supplementation around those 4 different cycles, or would you have the same thing through and through, like through that month?
I don't cycle supplements on a monthly basis because it can take plenty of time. As anyone who's ever taken supplements will know, it can
Yeah.
sometimes take 6 weeks for it to start having an impact, which is not in our best interest because nobody's got patience for that.
Yeah,
So I don't necessarily cycle, but what I will say is your body's need for things changes throughout the cycle. So magnesium more important in that second phase on that
Yeah.
day 14 to 28. You're going to need more magnesium. You're also probably going to want more fish oil, particularly for anybody who's got more inflammation or any mood disturbances with PMS. Fish oil is going to be really beautiful to help with neurotransmitters that are going to help keep mood stable. So there are, and with inflammation, right? So less pain, less cramping, less discomfort. So there's a number of things, like zinc, I think is really beautiful for women, also amazing for men in terms of supporting hormone production. So I would be going for, probably for magnesium, I'd be going for a fish oil. Dosage obviously dependent on what's going on in your body and what else you're taking and whether you're on any medication. I also really like, so for regulation of blood sugar, depending on whether you need it or not, something like inositol or berberine. There's also one called gymnea, which is a really beautiful herb. They all help with sugar.
Yeah.
Blood sugar regulation, the insulin variations that I was mentioning, great for that. Cinnamon is a really beautiful thing that you can use in the absence of supplements to help with blood sugar regulation. So that banana I was mentioning, if you wanted that in your first half of your cycle and you weren't trying to get like the blood sugar up straight away, you can throw cinnamon on it and it slows down the rate at which you absorb sugar. So a really simple way of just helping your body process sugar and sweets.
I heard dates do that really well too.
Dates have got more fiber in because they're a fruit, obviously a dried fruit. So they are slower, but they're very sweet.
Yeah.
I'd maybe argue that point a little bit. I put cinnamon on it because it can get into your bloodstream pretty quick.
Yeah.
I actually use them pre-workout for women.
Yeah.
So this is a great takeaway. I'm jumping ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. Dates.
Dates.
Yeah.
Pre-workout instead of fasting. When women fast in the morning, God help me. It makes me so mad. I have to calm myself because I'm like, we're not going to talk about this again, but it just irritates me so much.
I want to talk about this today.
The fasting part is, okay, so I'll give you a circadian rhythm chit chat real quick. At night, melatonin's up. We go to sleep when melatonin's present. Opposite of melatonin, cortisol, right? Everyone thinks cortisol's bad. It's not. We need it to stay awake.
Yeah.
We need a regulated amount to stay awake. So cortisol elevated in the morning. Food stunts cortisol elevating. Okay, so if you eat breakfast in the morning, your cortisol rhythm is blunted in a good way. So if you don't eat until lunchtime, your cortisol, most people have a black coffee as well, by the way, when they're fasting, right? So we spike the cortisol and then we don't eat for 3 or 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Cortisol is then suppressing the production of healthy hormones, right? So we're thinking testosterone, progesterone, whatever. Progesterone is really calming. There's a lot of moving parts that it impacts. So we need to be really careful with dysregulating your cortisol. It's more sensitive in women. You're fine.
Yeah, I was.
So fasting,
I fast.
We've
You've
had
done
this
it together.
conversation, and I said to
fast
him,
regularly.
he fasts regularly, but I said to him, I was like, I genuinely don't believe like it's good for women because we have so many hormones. We have our
It makes
periods.
sense, but
yeah.
to hear why.
our
is very
sex hormones are impacted significantly more than they are in men.
Yeah.
Obviously, our primary sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, yours is testosterone, right? So, but the cortisol doesn't impact testosterone in the same way that it impacts our primary sex hormones. So we then don't feel great. So and as we age, which is really annoying to get back getting older, is that we are less able to clear cortisol out of our system. So if we say you were doing HIIT when you were 20 or you're doing your F45, and then let's say by lunch, say you do that first thing in the morning, by lunchtime, your body's back to normal, happy days, cortisol's regulated. If you're doing that and you're 50, the cortisol hangs around a lot longer, right? So then your body, even though you're doing the same workouts, the same amount of movement, and people come to me and they're like, but my body's so different. Like, why is that?
Yeah.
Because your biology is in a different chapter and we need to learn to work with that chapter, not with what you used to do when you were 20.
Yeah.
Because things have changed.
Yeah.
So fasting, certainly same story. As you get older in women, you are less able to clear cortisol. And therefore, if you're fasting, it has a greater impact on older women than it does on, say, someone who's 18 who's fasting. Not that I recommend it for women at all, but...
Because we also lose a lot of collagen after the age of 25, right?
Absolutely.
It's decreased by 1 or 2%.
I think it's 1% every year.
Yeah.
So it's depressing, and that's why we're all going to get Botox and whatnot and taking all the expensive collagen supplements.
And just stay out of the sun,
Please,
everyone.
SPF.
Don't go in the
caps.
sun.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of a baseball cap all of the time.
Yeah.
Saves me a lot of money. I'm going to put it that way.
So would you say is that that is a lot different to a guy in terms of fasting?
Men can this is the problem. So women are really difficult to study in science, and people are always like, why are we so difficult to study? Just put women in a room and study them. But we're all obviously on different cycles. So you would to study a woman, you would have to find a group of, let's say a good study's got 1,000 women, right? So we grab 1,000 women. They all need to be at the phase of the cycle, ideally at the same time. So they all need to be ovulating on day 14.
And not on birth control.
Not on birth control.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And then we need to think about the longevity that they're able to stick in a study when they've got family commitments, children, they might have work, like usual stuff. Guys don't necessarily have that necessarily the same family responsibilities. So often they can stick to studies a lot longer. We don't have to worry about your cycling hormones because they stay pretty even throughout the 30 days or throughout a month. So it makes it so much harder for us to study women.
Yeah.
And so they're vastly underrepresented in science. So when we look at fasting studies, 95% of them are done on men.
It's interesting. Now you're saying that, I'm going through all the things that I've seen, watched, and heard, and I reckon it's like, it's like 95% are guys.
Right.
I actually
But it's
don't
just like
think...
rat studies, right? Like we look at rat studies and we go, well, if this happens in rats, we're assuming it's going to happen across the board in humans in the same way. So we take data and we go, we're all humans. We've all got heart, lungs, blah, blah, blah. It's going to work. Cool. That's the only way and probably the most cost efficient way of studying things and then rolling it out in humans. The problem is there is such a difference in the biology between men and women, specifically in the hormone arena, that it doesn't work in that way. So we're seeing more and more now women questioning, going, hang on, I tried this on this particular system or diet or whatever it is, supplement, medication, and I feel completely different than you or their partner on the same protocol. So I think women are starting to question now and go, hang on a second, this is not right. We need more studies. We need to be seen and heard for our own symptoms, not for what is happening in the science in men.
Yeah.
And a lot of that takes time, like, what if you're doing something for 10 years and then we find out, oh, actually, I've got no period or I've lost my hair or.
Yeah.
Outside of food, I mean, that study has stretched to, one of our friends was telling us about it actually, women in sports and how they train around their period is very different. He was implementing some new protocols for a couple of athletes, and he was saying the difference is incredible just by changing over a period of over 30 days, doing the same amount of the same training, but in different order.
Cool.
He was saying that
just change the protocol
system. Does that make sense?
It does, absolutely, because so estrogen and progesterone can change the laxity, for about want of a term, around tendons and ligaments. So we see that, I think this is crazy to me, but there you go. This is just what happens in sports nutrition. They will put athletes who are potentially going into the Olympics or high level athletes that are female on the pill because it stops the dysregulation of an injury risk based on hormonal fluctuation. Because certain times of a cycle for a woman who is naturally cycling, you'll see like we'll get more injured, we'll be actually less like our cognitive versus like physical movement doesn't necessarily add up. We're a bit more clumsy, for example, we'll drop stuff, we'll forget things. That's hormonally related. And what they try and do is flatline everyone so that the training outcomes are the same. They have less injury and they don't get the same level of inflammation, PMS, and it's more predictable.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad because they're not actually using it for contraception. They're using it for hormone flatlining.
What is your opinion on birth control?
Oh, that's spicy, isn't it?
Sorry.
No. I think it's a really important question.
What, is there a personal opinion and then a professional?
Yeah.
Or
I'll tell you what I
the
did,
same?
because and probably how I've changed my stance over the years. So I went on the pill. I was sexually active from a young age. I think I was 13 or 14, and I went on the pill for contraception.
Yeah.
I remember going into the family planning clinic, being so embarrassed that I was there because I felt too young. Got in there, and they gave me no information. They were like, "This is what to take," and handed it, slid it across the table.
Yeah.
Cool. Took that, never questioned it until I hit 30. right? Literally took it every
Really?
day, never questioned it, never had any problems, didn't notice anything. And then I read an incredible book called Your Brain on the Pill.
Yeah.
Dr. Sarah Hill, I think it is.
I've heard about it. I haven't read it, but I've heard
Great
about
book.
it. Yeah.
Fascinating
Yeah.
about how it can impact so many things in your
The man
body.
you choose.
And down to partner selection, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is amazing because let's say that we're thinking about ovulation, right? And your hormones are flying all over the place and you've got your libido is supposed to be so elevated. On
Yeah.
a contraceptive pill, you don't necessarily get that fluctuation.
Mhm.
And when you're experiencing that fluctuation as a naturally cycling woman, you're looking for someone equal with lots of testosterone
Yeah.
because we're trying to think of the most virile man that's going to impregnate us. So we're out there looking for the masculine man, right? We're thinking like strong jawline, big body, muscular, like we're into like the gruff look, lots of hair, all that kind of like gorilla vibes, right? We're thinking that. Whereas if we don't have that fluctuation, and this is what the book speaks to, is that we have a different choice of partner selection because we're not after someone who's going to protect us and impregnate us and whatever. And so our choices change.
Yeah.
I definitely, and this is anecdotal, purely anecdotal, but when I came off the pill after reading that book, and it was a very, very balanced take on pro and cons of the pill. So don't go into it thinking, if I read this, I'll end up coming off the oral contraceptive or it's, all bad news. It's not. It's a very, very balanced take because there are many benefits to the pill. But I came off it and correlation or causation, I was with a partner for 10 years and I was like, I'm not attracted to him anymore. And we broke up.
Wow.
Yeah, 10
Oh
years.
my
The guy that I came over to Australia
God.
with, and I was like, is this a pill thing? I don't know. But he was quite, I wouldn't say he was a masculine man. He was very attractive, but he didn't have a big build. He was an accountant, didn't really train that much. He was more of a runner's body.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, yeah, I'm actually not. We're friends.
Yeah.
We're just friends now. And we broke up.
Oh.
And would you say
my
that would you do you put that down
I feel
for
like now, certainly my partner selection after him has definitely had a very different physique.
Yeah.
Not that I go specifically off physique, but even just in traits in a man of like someone who would take care of me as opposed to someone that I would take care of.
Yeah.
I'm very selective. Like I can see someone coming a mile off if they want a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm
Money
like,
energy.
I don't want, I don't have time, sir.
Be my mummy, make my
I
bed.
don't want to do so. I don't want to take care of you financially or emotionally, actually. You can handle that yourself.
It's so funny that you say that because I'd previously been on the pill and the man that I was with previous to Ross, and I'd actually had to come off the pill because it was making me so sick. I was taking it and vomiting it up
Wow.
almost instantly after having it. My body was just rejecting it. And I tried all these different brands. And by the time I was like I was just about to turn 18. I was like, do you know what? I'm just like, we're safe. It was my choice. I was like, if we be safe, I'll be fine. I think it's just better for my body. It's not going to work for me if I'm just constantly throwing it up.
Sure.
So, but when I came off it, I just noticed a change. Like the guy that I was with previous to that, he was like what you were saying, very similar to your ex in the way of like the build and how he was. And then, when I met Ross
Traits,
and I'm
yeah,
coming
and
off
you're
the pill, very day and night doll, day and night.
Different. Is it
very
related?
different?
We don't know, but potentially.
But yeah, I noticed a really big difference.
Interesting.
But yeah, like I think it impacted me so much. I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I tried
just
different
don't think-
brands.
I think what upsets me about the pill more than anything is people are not, they don't go into it with their eyes wide open, educated.
Yeah.
And it's handed out like lollies. Like
Yes.
it's just like, this is the answer to everything. If you're like, I will see people taking the oral contraceptive when they're going through perimenopause because they want to regulate their hormones.
Yeah,
But
wow.
what we really should be saying is it time for hormone replacement therapy to bring your natural levels to where they should be and ease the symptoms rather than masking everything with a
Yeah.
plaster?
Yeah, it's just a Band-Aid.
Absolutely. And so, number one, I think the GPs in their education, there's some unjust situation going on because their education is not empowering them to teach people an appropriate like this is what's going to happen. If you take it, pros and cons, let's sit and talk about this. What are your other options? I think if someone had have said to me when I was 13 or 14 going on the pill and said, right, these are all the pros, these are all the cons. There's some benefit against certain cancers in terms of like protection against it. There's some things that you're higher risk of, plots, etc. And also it might impact partner selection. It might, cause, it might mask PCOS, for example.
Yeah.
It might do a million things, right? If we laid that all out on a fact sheet and said, go away and think about it for a week, like, let's have a genuine sit down conversation. This is what you can and can't expect.
Yeah.
I think people would feel so much more informed to have a conversation with the GP and be like, cool, this is my thought on it. If I'd have known at 13 or 14 that I could only get pregnant in a window of maybe 5 days out of 30, I wouldn't have gone on the pill.
Yeah.
If I'd have been taught the family planning method, which sounds really dorky and old school, but like if you don't have sex around your ovulation, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get pregnant if you're having sex when you've not ovulated.
Yeah.
So if you know when you're ovulating and it's consistent, just use a condom in those days and then you don't have to take the pill, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I would do now. Like I know based on my tracking and like my body temperature and all that jazz, like I'm pretty meticulous with the data, but I know like, okay, well these 4 days are a no-go zone for me, but everything else I'm cool.
Yeah. Isn't it so funny that we all had a similar experience with doctors? I remember when I went and got put on the pill, I was probably 15, 16. I don't know. But my mum was like, I'm just going to take you in and you're just going to go on the pill. The doctor didn't say anything to me. My mum was a nurse as well. So like I didn't get any pros, cons. I just said, I don't want to get pregnant. I'm sexually active.
Give me a solution.
Give me a solution. And there were girls that were going in getting the pill for their skin problems.
Yeah.
But I never had any education around that. I never had like take this and have a chat with your parent or trusted person in your life and have a discussion about it, whether it's right for you and alternatives and all that kind of stuff. Never got that conversation. It was just, here's the pill, don't get pregnant. I don't want to know about it.
I think what concerns me and what I don't like is I don't know that they know to give that information or that they even know how to have that conversation with people.
But then shouldn't it almost be illegal to tell someone to take it then?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
the whole conversation of like why I get frustrated with nutrition stuff, right? Is that I can see someone on they'll come to me on blood pressure medication and they've been taking it forever and they've now got stomach ulcers off the back of it and they've got health screwed and whatever. Like cool. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction, right? So your body may get symptoms off medication that you weren't anticipating and so on and so forth. I know for a fact that I could have resolved that blood pressure situation with a balanced diet, reducing salt, more movement, being smarter around the strategy around nutrition. But they don't get education on that. Like the GPs, the medical education around nutrition is so poor. I think it's something ridiculous like they get like 60 hours in their medical degree on nutrition.
That amazes me.
So worrying.
Yeah.
There's changes going on in America at the moment. There's conversations about that it has to be drastically improved from a nutrition perspective in terms of the content that goes into the medical degrees, which is great to hear.
Yeah.
It is amazing. The amount
too little too late, but we'll get there.
The amount of times that you go to a doctor, I mean, we very rarely go to doctors anymore, but I can't recall the time where nutrition is mentioned once. When my dad got diagnosed with cancer, they asked I told him to ask. I was like, ask him about diet. What could you do to help? And they said there's nothing that you could do for a change in diet that will change the outcome at all. These are like doctors' surgery. These are that. So my parents of that age, they take that and they're like, well, why would I change what I eat?
And also that generation don't question medical professionals.
Yeah, but because we shouldn't really question medical professionals.
Correct.
Really, we should be able to
trust
say
that they know.
You should be able to trust.
So is that? I mean, that comes on to like, how broken do you think the system? Are you fighting a broken system, or is it broken people that are from a broken system? What's like?
That's a really great question. I could talk to you about this for like 10 hours. I think my take on it is the medical system, and we as people have to accept that there's a certain amount of tax that's being spent on the medical system that serves us, right? And it's vastly underfunded. And with the medical system that we've got, we have to review it in the sense of this is going to keep me alive if I'm at death's door, and it's going to solve acute problems or chronic disease and pick up on it and come up with a solution that's probably medication.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be life-saving treatment in an emergency. All fine. Is it proactive in terms of making someone feel optimal? Absolutely not. And we can't have that expectation. And that's when it becomes a broken system for me, because I think that somebody wanting good health doesn't get served well by the system. They just get kept out of disease.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So they'll say, okay, you've got a problem with your blood pressure. We're not going to let it continue to get worse. Take this pill. Whereas I would be like, let's go to the root cause of what's going on and let's solve it naturally, right?
Surely that's I mean, you hear that all the time, right? Why would you cure someone's problem today when I could charge them $1 a day for the rest of their life, keep them alive? I mean, do you genuinely, you've got like, you're in this space. Do you believe, is it that, bro? Is it like people could actually be prescribed different things that aren't going to make someone a lot of money? Maybe they're making money, but it actually will fix things
Yeah,
rather
but how are a farmer going to like that?
Yeah, they're not at all.
And the tax system, because how much money
it's
do they
broken.
provide
Yeah.
into the tax system that then serves the health system that's serving us?
Yeah.
And to the
for chronic disease?
politicians.
Right? It's such a controversial topic, but don't get me wrong, I'm not against Western medicine at all. I think it has a really valuable and like incredible role to play
Yeah.
in keeping people alive and serving people in a time of need. Does an incredible job. Do I think it keeps people optimal? No. I think it's baseline like health, if that
Is it
makes
just
sense.
Yeah.
really just pain management? Has like GPs really just become pain management?
Yes. Yeah. And I guess stopping the progression of furthering complications of health as well.
Yeah.
So they'll see something and go, this is not looking great. Let's take this tablet, because that's the way that they've been taught to deal with things. It's not the GP's fault. That's the education they've been served. What I find is there's definitely science out there. It's not my opinion to show that certain supplements are equal to, if not as effective than, the chemical counterparts that are being served out that come with side effects.
Yeah.
So, for example, berberine, equivalent to metformin in terms of efficacy for people who have blood sugar dysregulation, right? Amazing. You can go and buy it off a counter, right? The omega-3, I think this is a fantastic stat. So omega-3 for mental health in the presence of an SSRI. So someone gets diagnosed, they get given an SSRI, which is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, antidepressant. If you take fish oil along with an antidepressant, the outcome of the antidepressant, it's 1 and 1 equals 3, right? So they synergistically work together. And then if I have someone come to me and say, I'm taking however much of Zoloft or whatever it is, I can put them on a really high dose, good quality fish oil. And over time, they can then go and have a conversation with the GP of like, I actually feel all right. Can we take the dose down a touch? Can we eventually start implementing whole foods? Because remembering that supplementation is for a period of time. Ideally, it's not forever, mostly, to get you through a period while your diet then starts to take over. So we eat plenty of fatty fish and more of a Mediterranean style diet to support mental health. And then for many people, is it a case of, well, I actually can completely come off medication or go on a lower dose? Perfect.
Yeah.
So I think there's so many natural resolutions to common problems that people are getting medicated for because they're not in the knowledge that, or have the knowledge that I have, or natural. There's an incredible GP in the UK that's got a podcast called Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee, and he really pushes lifestyle and nutrition over medication, very unusually.
How controversial.
We love him for that, though. And he's got one of the biggest health podcasts in the UK. He's incredible.
But isn't it crazy that the narrative that is pushed is controversial for a doctor? It is
controversial.
For a doctor to be saying that when that's how it really should be.
And I think what's interesting, so I know that nutritionists, we gatekeep information through expensive appointments, right? And it's not accessible to everybody, which sucks, which is why I try and use my social media to try and get more information out there for free. The stuff that I wish I'd had when I was trolling the internet and I made myself sick.
Yeah.
But I think the access we have to information from GPs that is supposed to be free to us isn't proactive health. That's where the conversation lands. And so, is it a broken system? It depends what you're after. If you're avoiding disease, it does a great job. If you're proactively trying to feel optimal, like when somebody comes to me and goes, I've got all these symptoms, but my bloods are fine. Like, yeah, but the ranges on blood tests are against a both healthy and unhealthy population. And we take the average snapshot of those people and we create a range. So you might be feeling completely garbage, but your bloods are showing that you're okay in comparison to the rest of the population.
I had that experience when I was going through gut problems, and I was experiencing the most horrible symptoms. Like I had the worst brain fog. I had depression. I had the worst bloating. It was so like unmanageable for me. It was horrendous, and it went on for months. And I went to the doctors and I said, like, run all the tests because I'm actually concerned at this point. I can't fix it with food. I don't know what to do. I had ultrasounds, internal and external. At that point, I felt like I had cancer.
Wow.
All of my tests came back perfectly fine. They're like, you are perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, but you can feel
It's
this,
called
right?
medical gaslighting.
Literally.
You're fine, girl.
She's like, you are perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with you. And she made me feel like I was in there like a bloody Sharon
crazy.
Strzelecki hypochondriac, like a million things wrong with me. And she just thought I was crazy. And I'm like, but you can feel my stomach, right? You can feel what's going on.
I'm bloated. You can, I'm
Like,
running to the bathroom every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
and
this is real.
And then they tried to put me on something for the bloat. And I'm like, no. I'm actually just going to take all this stuff. I'm going to go to my naturopath and we're going to try and figure it out. So I had like a microbial stool test done. It told me everything I needed to know about what was going on.
And that's the frustration, I think, because GPs, with all due respect to them, they cannot order these. They're expensive tests, right? The GI map that I use is $450, right?
Yeah.
I unfortunately don't have control over the cost of it, which is annoying, is what the labs charge.
Yeah.
A CDSA-4, which is a complete stool digestive analysis 4, it's got parasites and all sorts of stuff like yeast and whatever extra on top of your microbiome, $750.
Yeah.
Who's got $750 to find out what's going on with the, stomach acid? No one, right?
Yeah.
So, but the
girl, at that point, I was like, I'm going to give you everything I have. Just tell me what's wrong with me. Take it.
Exactly, right? And that's why I get people coming to me who are just desperate, who have been failed by the medical system. But we've got to give props to GPs because they don't have access on Medicare to order those tests.
Yeah.
So that's actually not their fault. It's just a system that doesn't serve people properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have been given that option, though, at the end of the day. I think them just saying there's nothing wrong with you. Here, take this medical stuff that's going to like basically mask the bloating and the problem and you won't
Symptom
know.
management.
Just here, go away.
Yeah.
I would have been much more appreciative to them in the fact that they could have just been like, go and like, here are some contact details, go and do this, but we can't be involved here.
And I think that's something when you go to primary care in Australia or around the world, a lot of the places, you have to go in there with eyes wide open, going, this is probably going to be symptom management outcome.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to make me less uncomfortable. It's going to probably solve my problem in this moment.
Yeah.
Is it going to solve the root cause? Is it going to give me answers? Is it going to fix me baseline so I can come off this medication? Probably not.
Yeah.
And that's where holistic people come in and say, let's get to the proper cause of it. But it's sad that it's so expensive to do that.
Yeah.
It is, but it also, I reckon someone could run some numbers somewhere where if the government spent $750 a year on every person over 18 and that was we got to get like in terms of preventative stuff. I mean, yes, it would take a number of years to recoup that or see the benefit, but you're talking 5, 10, 15 years down the track, the preventative stuff and the more aware people can become of what's going on inside their body. And then you can actually give people instructions to optimize that. That'll take a massive drain off the healthcare system. So over like 5 or 10 years. But unfortunately, we only
consumer demand is what we need, guys. Like imagine if everyone rose up and said, we all want a stool test once a year. Because they would find colorectal cancer, they'd find stomach cancer, they'd find like tumor markers elevated, we'd find lots of inflammation. we'd be able to draw a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah.
What's great, and I think hopefully it's start of a movement, is in the UK there's something called the Zoe study, which is specifically based on gut health, run by lots of really incredible clinicians, gastroenterologists. And you can pay, I think it's about £150, and you get the testing kit.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's also got a continuous blood glucose monitor as part of the kit as well. So you stick that
Yep.
on your arm, you can see your responses to certain foods. And it's all about bio-individuality, about how you respond to foods that your partner might respond differently to, and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. They are using that as essentially like a human experiment to gather data about gut health and microbiome, like a million different things.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Like, it's
Yeah.
probably the biggest study we've seen of that kind. So loads and loads of people in the UK
That's cool.
are doing that, and they're getting data about their gut health, like valuable data, and actionable points off the back of it.
Yeah.
If all of us had access to that for a decent price, I'm sure we'd all jump on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the. I mean, we talk about the problems and systems being broken, but there's also some really exciting stuff around.
Yeah.
It's coming, guys.
Yeah, it is. It's like
Yeah.
just around the corner.
I'm not all negative. I definitely
No.
think there's some beautiful things. We've got to remember, so nutrition as a science has only been around for 200 years.
Yeah.
So it's lacking drastically in enough studies with scientific evidence to say, we know that the vegan diet is the healthiest, or the Mediterranean diet is the healthiest.
Yeah.
Anybody will say, if you Google something like, are ice baths bad for us? You're going to find 10,000 studies that say yes. If they're good for us, you're going to find 10,000 studies that say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's confirmation bias. You'll find whatever you're looking for. And I think that's where social media coming full circle screws everybody, because someone will have an opinion or a lived anecdote where they'll say, I did this and it made me feel good, so it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
Let me tell the world.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't apply that way.
Yeah. That's something that I've been extremely conscious of.
What works for you doesn't work for me, sort of thing. Or might
Yeah.
not work for you, but vice versa.
And your body changes over time as well. Like, the things that I can eat now are so different to what I could when I was in my 20s. My gut changes and just everything. So I think people just need to understand doing what's right for you and your body.
Yeah.
And like listening
And
to your body.
I think this is a really beautiful way of framing it, is like, you're the custodian of the shell that you're in.
Yeah.
And that shell ages and the biology changes over time. And your job is to learn it and to support it in the way that it needs in that moment. And it might look a bit different. It's supposed to.
Yeah.
Trying to, like, you're going to live in a very, very difficult space in your head if you're always trying to have your 18-year-old body or your 20-year-old body, or you want to be lean, or you want. It's a never-ending cycle of hedonic treadmill of like, I just want to be smaller. And part of my role with people is to say, I appreciate you want to lose 10 kilos or 5 kilos. Let's do that. But I also like, let's set the expectation of what's actually healthy for your body right now in this phase of life.
Yeah.
Speaking of skinny, what are your thoughts on Ozempic?
Mixed reviews. There's a really good book called The Magic Pill, if anybody wants to do extra reading on it. Again, very even take on what isn't a really important drug.
So the English journal did that?
Yeah. Really important drug for people who are overweight, right?
Yeah.
Like, stop people having invasive surgery, which could be potentially life-threatening. Any invasive surgery is, right? So we're like, cool, that's great. We're not having as many gastric sleeves, gastric bypasses. That's great. Is it being abused by lots of people who don't necessarily need it and using it for the wrong reasons and not knowing the long-term outcomes potentially? Absolutely. Is it falling into the hands of people with eating disorders? Absolutely.
Do you see it a lot in the work that you do?
I see. So I actually have 3 clients currently at the moment that I work with one-on-one that are on different variations of Ozempic, so Mounjaro, or there's a new one out that I won't speak too much about because it's not licensed yet, called retatrutide, which apparently is supposed to help with more muscle mass maintenance, because Ozempic and Mounjaro are known to, you lose a lot of muscle mass, and obviously that's not great for our metabolism. Muscle strength is really important, obviously, when we're thinking about independence in old age. So not fab. So there's pros and cons, right? Absolute pros and cons. My job as a nutritionist is to say, this is a tool to help you reset, so we can reprogram your current behaviors that got you to the position that you're in now. I think what I have an issue with is people are being prescribed it with no dietary or habitual change. That bothers me, because as soon as they come off the medication, if they're not going to be on it lifelong, what happens? they go back to eating what they always ate. They just eat a smaller portion of a terrible diet,
Yeah.
right? Of a processed diet. They're like, I'll have half a hamburger instead of a full one. Cool. Then they come off the medication, appetite re-regulates. Sometimes it skyrockets because their body's smaller and they're like, I'm savage. I've not eaten anything for 3 months.
Yeah.
And they go hell for leather and then the weight goes back on.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like the way that the pills prescribed.
Right.
Like just go in, well, I just want to avoid getting pregnant. Okay, here's this.
Right.
So, I just want to lose some weight. Like, here's this.
This episode is brought to you by our wellness must-have, Hivita.
Hivita's single herb ingredients are highly bioavailable, so your body actually absorbs them.
Aussie made, sealed in eco-friendly glass and packaged with premium nutrients to keep us thriving, whether it's for glowing skin, keeping up our lifestyle, or crushing our workouts.
If you want to target specific health concerns or just make Hivita part of your daily routine like us, Hivita has got you covered.
Pick up yours online at hivita.com.au. That's HIVITA.com.au, and always read the label before use.
It's tricky. And what's interesting is that, as we've already seen in a very short space of time, because science is accelerating at a crazy rate, is that these drugs are getting more developed pretty quickly in terms of the side effects are being reduced. People so we started off with the Ozempic, then we moved to Mounjaro's like GLP-1, and like the amount of kind of receptors that they act on is changing. So Mounjaro, one of the latest ones that has slightly less nausea for most people, bit of better muscle mass retention. Cool. There's one in the pipeline. It's apparently 2 or 3 years away, that actually apparently at the same time, and again it's in trials, reduces body fat and increases muscle mass. It doesn't just stop the loss of muscle mass, it increases the amount of muscle mass. So think an anabolic steroid, right, that's misused, from PT stuff. When people take anabolic steroids or performance-enhancing drugs, they'll see that happen. Body fat drops, muscle mass increases. Terrible for liver and a million other things, but that's the risk that bodybuilders will take. But what's happening at the moment is they're trying to get to that point without it having terrible impacts on liver and whatnot, through a completely different mechanism of action that regulates appetite rather than regulating muscle protein synthesis and whatnot. So a bit of a different mechanism. It'll be interesting to see where the medical industry takes it, because there's always going to be abusers, just like there was in bodybuilding days. People are dying from ODing on testosterone growth hormone mixes of God knows what. Are we going to get the same thing off fat loss injections? Probably. And we know that people are vain. People value skinniness, don't they? It's just the world we live in.
And at such a high cost too, because I feel like I'm always very skeptical about these things when there aren't enough years of studies and tests done that show the real life impact on people's bodies, their mental health, everything. I find that concerning.
It's also a band-aid for the bigger problem, isn't it? I mean, if we need some master, I get there's exceptions for almost everything. So that's fine, but that should be, you shouldn't be able to go and just get that over the counter. You should have to, go through some sort of
there's quite a decent criteria. There's supposed to be a decent criteria, right? But then there's all these businesses that are out to make money that you can have a phone call with someone. They can't see you, a medical practitioner, and you say, my BMI is 50, or whatever it is, right? Just to get it across the line.
That's what I've been hearing about a lot recently.
And they'll say, send your bloods in and we'll do a teleconsult. And you're like, okay, well, obviously I can cheat the system here and get hold of some illegally. I do know that TGA are doing a lot of research into a lot of these companies, and some of them are getting shut down, personal fines of $1 million plus.
Cool.
So they are trying to step in, but as soon as one gets closed, another one pops open, and people will always find a way. So it's just a not great regulated system. But just like you can get stuff on the black market, you can get dexamphetamine, you can get antidepressants on the black market. Like, it's, you're always going to be able to find someone who's selling something illegally and get access to it. I think people just need to know and be well informed about what they're getting themselves into. And then if we're thinking of it as a behavior change tool rather than a fat loss tool, I would prefer it to be framed in that way. And then be used as a co-therapy with a dietitian or a nutritionist to say, cool, this is where we want to get you to maintain the body you've now got.
Yeah.
Let's work on that together for optimal health, not just optimal skinniness, which is
Yeah, see, that makes a lot of sense, that approach.
it feels, I think it's a more of a health optimization route than it is just a let's lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about sex.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Cool. Let's go.
My favorite topic.
I have so many questions about this, but mainly about about libido and things that you can do to improve your libido, because there are studies and tests that have been done that are showing libido is rapidly declining in our
Yeah.
population. Why?
So testosterone in men. I'm sorry to break this news.
No, it's definitely it's,
Kind of you're like
It's not
apparently I'm in the It's so a couple of things going on generationally, as you've just said. We're seeing massive decline in testosterone. I think the general school of thought is that the data we're comparing it to, let's say it was 300 years ago, 400 years, 500 years ago, men would hunt, right? And they're completely different lifestyle to the obesogenic one that we live in now. So going back to the topic of like the fat loss injections, we live in a world where everything is hyper palatable, hyper accessible, Uber Eats, sugar, salt, blah, blah, blah. It's very hard for someone, a normal person, to maintain a healthy body weight, right? Men do not need to go and hunt for food. It's accessible, and you do not need to fight. You don't need to hunt. You don't need to do the things that would peak testosterone. We see that, like, even when women go into the gym, your testosterone spikes. So that's where we're getting a bit of a spike of testosterone. But is there an elevated, consistent need for it in men? Based on the duties that they used to do in terms of protection and provision? No. So we're seeing a consistent decline, and we think that's what it's about.
like a societal
it's natural
evolution.
selection, right?
Yeah.
Evolution of
Yeah.
like, we're not using this as much, we don't have a need for it, and therefore we're just going to try take down
Yeah.
the amount of production.
Yeah.
We also don't speak about andropause, which is essentially from 40 onwards, men are losing testosterone at a faster rate than they were previously.
Yeah.
So they're going through an equivalent menopause. It's not as chaotic as what women experience.
Yeah.
But they are going to see more central adiposity, so more fat gain through the middle, despite their continued diet and exercise regime. We'll see lower mood. We'll see more brain fog. So you might find that your husband's grumpier than normal. Like, go and get your bloods tested, please. With women, I actually have clinically diagnosed low testosterone from chronically elevated stress. So, as I was saying, cortisol impacts the production of other sex hormones. If your cortisol is chronically elevated, like mine was through an eating disorder, it will suppress the production because your body's in fight or flight, like it's freaking out, and it's all about survival. It's not thinking, I want to produce healthy babies, which is why your period stops.
Yeah.
So all your other hormones can often get dysregulated. So I now have to supplement with hormone replacement therapy for testosterone.
Yeah.
So it's a pandemic, I think, that's obviously very much experienced by men, but can also be experienced in women. The difficulty in testing those sex hormones is it can vary from hour to hour. So just as I was saying in the example of you can go to the gym and your testosterone elevates, people will go and get the sex hormones tested by the GP, and they're like, I did a big workout this morning. And then they go and get the bloods tested. And it's like, well, your testosterone is going to show higher than it is. And actually, naturally, it might be a lot lower.
Yeah.
And you might be functioning at a suboptimal level.
Yeah. It's like
And it's
heart
not getting
rate,
picked
resting heart rate.
Yeah. Or like, the white coat syndrome, when people go and get the blood pressure thing and the doctor's there and they freak out, the blood pressure's loads higher. That's like called white coat syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very similar thing where you're in the presence of a medical professional and things change.
Yep.
So you've got a life going on, you've got stress going on. Is a snapshot of bloods taken at one particular time, at one particular day, representative of what's going on in your body all the time? Probably not. So it all needs to be taken into account with symptoms, which is kind of where I step in, because GPs like to go off bloods, whereas I'll be like, what's going on with the whole person? What can we see happening?
Yeah.
Is the libido down?
Yeah.
That's one of my intake questions with women. In terms of things of supporting libido, because remembering that stress is a massive killer of libido, and we live in a very stressful environment. It's like, what can we do to reduce cortisol? One of my favorite supplements, because people just want to go straight to supplements, is ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Saffron's really beautiful as well for mood support and dysregulation of cortisol. But that's where I would start. Is I would go in with ashwagandha. It has a therapeutic effect of about 21% reduction in serum cortisol over a 6-week period. Phenomenal. Like, don't know of another pill or herb that you can take that has that impact. So I think that's always a nice place to start, but we also need to look at lifestyle. Are you getting enough sleep?
Yeah.
Are you doing things that are stressing you out? Can we reduce those? Can you go and get a facial? Can you go and get a massage? Can you go and spend time in nature? Can you meditate? There's plenty of free things you can do to
Can you
reduce your
give the
cortisol.
kids to the grandparents
Can you,
forever?
can you just chuck your kids off a cliff? Maybe. I don't know. How bad is it? How bad's your situation?
How
So
stressed are
let's
you?
but realistically, like, what can we actually do in a normal person's life to get cortisol down pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Because that's going to have a massive impact on libido. And then when we've removed the things that are like reducing libido, then we can start to support it with things. So zinc, incredibly important for all sex hormones, but really beautiful. So that's why like people like oysters are an aphrodisiac, because they're just packed with zinc, right?
They also
So,
taste like shit.
do you like oysters?
I hate oysters.
I'm not a fan
Oh,
of
they're
oysters.
so
We're not
the
a
way they
at least
look.
we're both not a fan of oysters.
Oh, that's
really.
good. I
The
mean,
way
you don't
they
wanna-
look,
they're all right, but
it's very phlegmy.
yeah.
I think
It reminds me of something else, you know.
phlegm. Yeah.
No, something else.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Right topic.
Cool.
Wrong context.
That's full of zinc.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you've put me off them for life. Thank you. Next time I have him on, I'll be like, salty. Thanks. But yeah, so you can support it with supplements, right? So we can think zinc and whatnot. Another really beautiful thing I would use is maca powder. You can pretty much get it on every shelf in a pharmacy now. Really beautiful for supporting hormone production as well. So stuff we can do, but we also need to be aware of like, what are we doing in our lives that we have control over that are actually causing more harm than good, and we need to control. We can't just come in and go take these pills. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Would you say stress is like top?
I think it's the biggest killer.
Yeah.
I also think people sometimes blame the libido, and with all due respect, they might have been in a relationship for 25 years and they're just not interested in the partner anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's become really, and they're like, why can't I, get excited about my partner?
Yeah.
Because it's not new and fun and exciting anymore, and you've done it a million times over.
Yeah.
Is it a partner thing? Is it a libido thing? And that's where I come in and say, let's get data, right? So we can do, certainly with women, I mean, we can test, obviously, testosterone in men, but certainly in women, there's something called a Dutch hormone cycle mapping test. I feel like you might have done one.
I've never heard of that before.
Oh, I feel like you've done all the tests under the sun.
Hormone mapping.
Dutch, so DUTCH. Sorry, I've got a horrible accent. Hormone cycle mapping. And what it does, it's not fun to do at home because you have to pee on a piece of paper for 28 days.
No, I've never done that before.
Oh, okay.
I think that was maybe the only
It's
test
like,
that
that's
I
the
didn't
only one
do.
no one ever did on me. But it's specifically for hormones. So what it does is it looks at the metabolites, so the end stage of breakdown, essentially, metabolites of hormones, specifically in women. So we look at the urine, we analyze it, or the labs analyze it and go, okay, you've got this much of this, this much of this. Therefore, it means you had this much estrogen, this much progesterone, this much. And so it's really beautiful because it maps it across the 28 days. So rather than just getting one blood test, it would be unrealistic to say, go and get your bloods taken 28 days in a row, right? It's not going to happen. Too expensive, the medical system, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So we look at the metabolites in urine, and then we can say, okay, well, your estrogen's high, but your clearance is low, or you are you're not metabolizing testosterone properly, or you're not producing enough, or what. So there's so much data we can get from a Dutch cycle mapping test. It is expensive. It does take a long time. It then takes the lab a long time. It takes you 28 days, right?
Yeah.
Then you send it off. The lab then sit with it for 6 weeks. It's not a quick solution to anybody's, questions, but it is pretty thorough and it is science-based, which I love. So in a worst case scenario, when people go, what is going on with my body? That's the most extreme test I would kind of put someone through, or the most informative that gets to the bottom of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really cool because I feel like a lot of people, like, as time goes on and you get older, things just do change. Like we've been together for 16 years, and
Congratulations.
when we first got together, we were just like, that's all we did. All we did was have sex the whole time. Like his neighbors hated us. It was just like ridiculous. And then but then his brother moved out. Like it was just too much.
AirPod Max for everybody.
But as the years go on and everything, like we lived apart for a certain amount of time. I think we've always had like that sexual attraction, I think. But as you get older, I've definitely now been thinking about it a lot more in terms of like the foods that I'm eating, the supplements I'm taking, because as you just get older, things deplete. And,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
thinking
like I'm not
about,
old, I'm 34, but,
oh,
you know,
girl,
like
you are a long
I'm
way
thinking
off.
about it because I don't
You're
want to be one of
fine.
those
But this is
grandmas
preventative
who
medicine,
aren't
right?
having
This
sex.
is you saying, I want to have a healthy perimenopause. I don't want to lose my libido. Let's be
Yeah.
proactive about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the shift that we've seen in the last 10 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
So people are going, we've got more education now. We do have preventative options we can take.
Mm.
Let's talk about it. Like mine essentially is preventative HRT, which is cool. Even though I'm supplementing to get my levels back up, it also means that when I do hit perimenopause, because I'm not diagnosed with that yet, I'm going to enter it in a much healthier way, and I won't have the chaos of hormones jumping all over because I'm taking progesterone and testosterone medically prescribed. So it's preventative in that sense, which is kind of great.
Roughly like what age
Are
do
you
women
going to start seeing symptoms?
Yeah.
So they say 10 years, anywhere between, it's a long time, anywhere between 2 and 10 years, right? You're going to experience symptoms through perimenopause. Menopause is literally it's one day, which is where people get really confused. So menopause is one day, which is 365 days after your last ever period, right? Then you're postmenopausal after that. The next day you're postmenopausal. And then before that, it's peri. So there's this one day where everyone's like, I'm in menopause. So like, you're not. You're probably postmenopausal or you're premenopausal.
Yeah.
The pre part, which is the 2 to 10 years part, which can be awful and horrible for people, can start, and bearing in mind that the average age of, say, menopause is like 50, and you're thinking 10 years, we start to see stuff happening at 40, maybe. However, certainly for me, I notice the first sign is cycle changes. So length change, heaviness. If you're normally 28 days on the clock, you'll start to say, oh, actually it was 30 this month, or next month it's 32. That's weird.
Yeah.
And we start to see dysregulation in that second half of the cycle in terms of length.
Yeah.
So that's a sign to say, okay, stuff's changing, might start to experience symptoms. Remembering that symptoms are not consistent for that. Let's say worst case scenario, it goes on for 10 years. Symptoms are not consistent across that entire time. So you will get periods where you're like, okay, I'm experiencing low mood, and it'll come on for 2 or 3 months and then it'll disappear. Because it's a bit like thinking about puberty. It's the opposite of puberty, where it's hormonal chaos at the beginning, right? And then we're dropping off the hormones, so we go through hormonal chaos again.
Yeah.
So we'll have days where we're like screaming and slamming the door and like being pissed off at our partners and whatever and feeling really miserable. And the next day it's kind of like, I'm okay now, I'm sorry.
I
My
love how
hormones
life
made me do
puts us through this. Like, poor
Being
women.
a woman is
Poor-
so hard.
It literally is. Like, we have to go through that change, and then we get our period, and then we have our period for our whole, like, the prime of our life, and then they're like, yeah, you don't need your period anymore. We're just going to put you through, like, this huge, like, lengthy process of, like, being a bitch.
Yeah. But it's amazing that we're seeing stats on the divorce rate now of women going through like that age range of like people going through menopause and men being like, I cannot cope with this.
But the women are the ones initiating the divorce. I saw like
We were
this.
talking about this the other week, actually.
We saw this really lengthy study about the majority of people initiating the divorce are the
It's
women.
the women. Yeah.
So
But
maybe
we
they're
were
just
saying
maybe
that-
they're just
Emotional.
done, or maybe they're just done with men's shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, I
The kids are
tolerate
gone.
less now. So
Yeah,
you guys
they're
are
like,
screwed.
we were saying this sort of came down to like a societal change, hey, whereas like 70 years ago, women didn't have as much freedom or power to go out and earn money, so they kind of were stuck.
Yeah, it was a financial arrangement a lot of the time. Yeah.
So, and it's almost like like we're evolving through this space, and it's having such an impact on foods that we eat. I genuinely don't think that people know what is healthy and what isn't healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think people know what an accurate hasn't the food
Well,
table.
marketing's awful. That's
Yeah,
why.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, would that be what would be your like? Is it hard to narrow down? What is like your number one, your pet peeve, or like the thing that now you're in this space and like the covers have been they're over. You're like, man, that's really disgusting. That's really messed up. Or it's setting people up for failure. Is there
Oh,
a pet?
that's so hard. I could literally list
I can
thing
imagine
as long as
hundreds.
my arm.
Yeah.
I think one thing I really don't like mislabeling of food drives me mad.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh my
Are we
god!
looking
You're
for mum and
so
dad?
Daisy's just desperate for attention.
Daisy, she's like, guys, come snuggle me at least. Goodness. So I think one of the things I've seen in most recent years that irks me a lot is things being labeled as high protein as a health call out when it's not necessarily. It can be a really hyper processed food, so it's not necessarily healthy. It might be
Yeah.
high protein, but it's not necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
So it disguises the fact that it is a processed food.
Mm-hmm.
Like the proliferation of really hyper processed protein bars and people having them every
Yes.
single day because they're like, this is a good choice instead of a chocolate bar. Sure, in comparison, it's probably better on macros than a chocolate bar. Is it still hyper processed garbage? Yes, the answer is
Yes.
yes. So don't think that it's a health choice because it's not.
Yeah.
I think that's where the confusion lies for people is they see something, protein's getting shoved down everybody's throats and they go, this is high protein, this is the right choice.
Mm.
When we go back and say, well, if we had the option between that and some whole foods, what's the right choice? We know it's always the whole foods.
Yeah.
So it's trying to get back to people to basics, which is not sexy.
Mm-hmm.
The food that doesn't have marketing is the food that's good for you.
Yeah.
I remember my
I love
naturopath saying, he's like saying about protein bars. He's like, protein bars are not protein bars. They're just full of shit.
Yeah.
And he's
most
like,
of them,
if
yeah.
you want a protein bar, snack on some dried meat or,
Beef
like
jerky.
the meat bars or, and then he actually came out with a collection of collagen. They're like collagen jelly bars that are
Brilliant.
actually
It
like
tasted disgusting.
high
But
protein.
that was his. It was like, it
but
doesn't
it's
it
a
taste
protein
good?
bar.
It's
That's a
it serves
protein
that
bar,
purpose.
Yeah.
So it's such an interesting, like we're
It's
so
hard for
easily
people
marketed.
to navigate, though, isn't it? It's really unfair. Like I'm so
Yeah.
lucky and privileged, and the luck isn't lost on me that I know how to read a nutrition label and
Yeah.
analyze it to a great degree. I think what's tricky for most people is they don't have the time or the inclination or the care or the desire to
Yeah.
stand in a supermarket and flip everything over and go, is this what it says on the front of the packet?
Yeah.
And what am I
Yeah.
getting? And then to analyze the ingredients and say this is going to do A, B, and C to my gut health, or it's
Yeah.
going to do anything to my neurological health or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I have that benefit. It takes me forever to get around a supermarket, right?
Yeah.
But I'm privileged in that regard. My job then is with my clients is to say, okay, top line, what's the most important information?
Yeah.
How do you analyze carbs, fats, proteins, fiber? How do we make an assessment about what's good, what's not? How do we look at ingredients and say, these are the biggest list of things I want you to avoid.
Yeah.
Everything else is good enough. That's my job.
What would be the top 3 things that you would say to stay away, like ingredients
Ooh,
to stay away from?
cool. So sugar, alcohol, everything in moderation. I'm never going to say you cannot eat any of this. It's not true. Unless it's cyanide, we're fine. It wouldn't be in the food system if it wasn't safe,
Yeah.
mostly, right? That being said, dose makes the poison. So I always say you can have 1 paracetamol, it has benefit. You can have 100 paracetamol, you might be in the emergency department, get your stomach pumped, right? So
Yeah.
small amounts can be fine, large amounts can be terrible. Over periods of time, it can be terrible. 1 small dose doesn't make a difference. However, sugar alcohols for me, like the amount of women that come to me and they're like, I'm bloated, I've got loose stools, I've got constipation, my gas smells, it's like, right, I'm eating so healthy. I'm having protein powders, I'm having protein bars, I'm having low calorie this, I'm having low calorie that, I'm having like heaps of fake sweeteners in things. Anything ending in, let me get this right, OL is a sugar alcohol. So think about the
Yeah.
nomenclature of alcohol, ends in OL. So anything like maltol, sorbitol, yeah, we're thinking of sugar alcohols.
Yeah.
So look for anything that ends in OL. The chances are your body's going to ferment it rather than break it down, which
Yeah.
means you're going to get more gas, more bloating, more discomfort, more distension, all the stuff that women hate. Men as well. That's to be fair to men.
Yeah.
But I just work in the female space. So that's what I see a lot of is like too much consumption of protein bars and jellies and lollies and blah, blah, blah. And it's all sugar free. So they've
Yeah.
replaced it with sugar alcohols.
Yeah.
That's one of the key things I don't love.
Yeah.
But again, dosage is important. Something else I don't love, let me think about this. I think stuff with probiotics, which is really controversial for me to say. Reason being is, number one, there's not normally enough for it to have a therapeutic impact. So if someone's got bad gut health and they start drinking kombucha and they think it's going to fix them,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
the case. Like we need to find the root cause.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm very adamant about with probiotics, and this is even supplementation, I want to know what someone is low in so I can strain specifically dose. I'm not just going to give someone who's already got enough lactobacilli a massive dose off a counter and say, here's some more probiotics, take that. And it's more of lactobacilli. When actually what that's doing is crowding out the growth of other bacteria that they're low in, and then they're not going to have a balanced microbiome. So I think the advertising, in a similar way that it's considered healthy if it's got probiotics in, doesn't necessarily translate for everyone. It can make gut symptoms worse. So I don't love that aspect of things. I think all these probiotic drinks and probiotic foods and, you know, this has got 1 million CFU and whatever, doesn't necessarily equal good health.
Yep.
And then should we talk about seed oils?
Yeah.
Because that's something that lands on everybody's ingredients list and top question, and it's, again, controversial. I think, again, dose makes the poison. It's really important to remember if you're having a splash of almond milk and it's got some seed oils in, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
If you're someone who has a lot of inflammation in the body, do I think having pro-inflammatory foods at any dose is helpful? Probably not. So if you do have PCOS, you probably want to be a bit more careful about your intake. Remembering that seed oils are anything as it sounds, right? So it's like from seeds. So let's think about flax oil, has some beautiful health properties.
Yeah.
So it's not a blanket, all seed oils are bad. It's more the really hyper processed ones, the ones that are used in high doses. And if you're consuming lots in a pre-existing inflammatory state, then you want to say, let's reduce it. But I wouldn't be a blanket ban on everything. I don't think it's realistic. I think you get so hyper focused on tiny amounts of stuff that's in your food that it becomes unhealthy mentally. And then you end up with orthorexia or whatever, just food noise, which is what people come to me now with and say, I can't stop thinking about food.
Yeah.
Because they're just so overwhelmed with what's good, what's bad, what should I be eating, when, what's the time.
And I guess that's why having someone to hold your hand is super helpful. Hey.
Yeah,
Because you've
I think just kind of smashing all the myths and going, let's look at you as a person.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about the noise.
Yeah.
And let's apply science that's often not sexy. It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Of like decent protein breakfast, decent protein lunch, bit of fat at each meal so we can absorb fat soluble vitamins. Making sure that you're not letting yourself get too hungry, making sure that you're not eating too frequently because you're just going to get stuffed. And it's really basic stuff.
Yeah.
But people want to be sold a magic pill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's...
Oh, we have been sold magic pills for the last 10, 20 years. And then
some
we
of them
come across
work,
someone
right,
like
as
that.
well.
But you're then having to retrain people like us and be like, hey, look, what you've actually learned is wrong. Like you've actually been sold this dream that doesn't exist. I've got to retrain you in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what makes people distrust those in nutrition and certainly in the food marketing space is, as I said, nutrition's a new science.
Yeah.
In 10 years, we'll be having a completely different conversation about Ozempic, a completely different conversation about seed oils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely will hold my hands up and say, I've got a different take on what I used to think. Coconut oil, oh my God, coconut oil, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, anti-blah, blah, blah. It's amazing. Use coconut oil and everything. There was a phase when everyone was like drinking MCT in the coffee and having it on, like rubbing it on the skin, doing everything.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, no, it's a saturated fat. Like,
Yeah.
we need to dose it properly. We
Yeah.
need to use it like any other fat. So I'm always open to changing my opinion based on developing science. We
Yeah.
have to wait for those studies to get done. All we can do is the best we can do with the science and the knowledge that we've got now.
Yeah.
And we apply it on the person. And then we say to that person, give me your body's take on what's happening for you with this application of this protocol. Is it working for you or is it not?
Yeah.
Is the oral contraceptive pill making you throw up? Because in most people, it doesn't. Okay, your body's saying no. What are the alternatives?
Yeah.
Because I can come to you with the science and the protocols and say this works for majority. But then this is why I say to people, I need you to work with me for 12 weeks. I'm not going to do you a one-off consult.
Yeah.
Because I can send you away with all the best information in the world and you apply it and then you have a bad reaction.
Yeah.
So that's not helpful.
Yeah.
So I have to work with your biology, and I only know that from you being the scientist and saying, I'm here with my clipboard and I'm collecting data on my sleep, my stress levels, my exercise output, my motivation, all that stuff. And I go, cool, now we've applied these protocols. What's changed? That hasn't changed. Right, now let's change tact because there's 10 different protocols we can try for your body.
Yeah.
So it's being a scientist and going, I'm going to remove emotion. This is what women are terrible at. Nothing's working. I'm stressed. This is crap. My body's different to everyone else's. I feel, like my hormones are broken. We go, hang on a second. Let's like say maybe this protocol isn't right for you. What you're doing isn't working for you right now. Let's try a different tack
Yeah.
based on the science. So we remove emotion and say, let's look at the facts. What have you done this week? Why have the scales not moved?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that maybe you've had a bit more salt this week and you've got more water retention? Okay, you had Japanese last night and then you stepped on the scales and you had a ton of soy sauce.
Yeah.
We've got an answer,
Yeah.
you know, but the emotion is, this is not working. I'm angry. I'm fat, blah, 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 blah.
And it's also not just I'm fat. I think for a lot of women is you could be any size but have cellulite.
Absolutely.
And not being able to
Genetically.
shift that is one of the most frustrating things on the planet. And I think people also don't understand how many things contribute towards cellulite as well.
Yeah.
It is
And it's
genetic in a lot of
massive genetic
ways.
component, massive genetic component. People come to me and say, what can I eat to get rid of cellulite? I'm like, food is not the cure-all.
Yeah.
Like, you can't eat
Yeah.
a bloody chicken and
Yeah.
expect that that's going to get rid of your cellulite. Your body just doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
holistically, as you were about to say, toxins in your environment, you have to try and minimize them as much as possible.
Yeah.
There's certain things, dry body brushing,
Stress,
doing as much as you
cortisol,
can.
like so many
100%.
things contribute towards it.
Which is why we look at the whole person, whereas a GP might come in and say, what's the isolated symptom? Let's solve
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say, I want to know, like, if you've got high blood pressure, does your GP ask you what your sleep's doing? Don't think I've heard that. Or,
Yeah.
you know, what
Yeah.
is your diet doing? What are your stress levels like?
Yeah.
They just go, cool, it's high on your bloods, here's a pill. So my job is to then go, right, let's look at the whole person, the lifestyle. I always say, I want you day on a plate from waking up, going through to bedtime. And then I want the one that you're going to give to your nutritionist. And then I want a shit day,
Yeah.
which is wine, it's chocolate, it's takeout, it's whatever. And how frequently does that occur?
Yeah.
Is it once a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week? Because often people don't, when you sit them down and say, oh, it's weird that you're not making progress on your own, but why do you think that is? And they go, I've no idea. And then you get them to articulate what they're actually doing in a week and they go, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
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 Because they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And we haven't been taught to, right? We're not tracking that stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
I love your 80-20 approach. That's something that I constantly have always worked towards because everyone's human and you can't just restrict yourself just to be eating healthy all the time. And especially if you're not able to eat at home and have full control over your meals as well. I think there's so many contributing factors.
Yeah, when you're traveling or
Yeah,
you know,
just
whatever.
being able
Absolutely.
to enjoy what you're eating. My approach has always been like that, least processed. On, I won't drink during the week, but then I might have a day out with my girlfriends or friends or whatever, and I want to go and have a couple of drinks. I know how bad alcohol is for me. I know how bad it is. I know how much of an inflammatory it is, but it's not all the time.
Yeah, perfect.
So I think
It's such a beautiful approach.
Yeah.
And like you've just articulated really well, you can set parameters around that because people
Yeah.
want an answer and they want a protocol. That's what people come to me. Just give me a meal plan and
Yeah.
I'll follow it. Tell me what to do and I'll follow it. We can do that, but let's set realistic habits and goals for your lifestyle. Because if
Yeah.
I say just eat veg all day, you can probably do it for 3 days and then you'll hate me, right? It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Whereas if we say, okay, Monday to Thursday, I don't want you to have an alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
You're drinking a bottle of wine every night. That's a huge shift for you. Let's see where we land. I don't condone having a bottle of wine Friday, Saturday, and Sunday either, but let's start slow.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can try take down a little bit and we say, yeah, okay, well, your goal is to get to 6 glasses of wine a week from the starting point that we're at now, which is 7 bottles, which is not uncommon. So
that's crazy to me.
right.
How much people,
Right.
how
But
much
you're
alcohol.
from a different starting point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably in a social setting where it's not encouraged or done by all your friendship circle because you've got a chosen friendship circle that maybe are more health orientated or
Yeah.
find other coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
So it really depends what your social circle are doing as well. We know that has a drastic impact. I've got a mate at the moment who drinks every single night. And when I spend more time with that person, I drink more.
Yeah.
Even though I'm very, very good at saying, I'm not drinking tonight, I'm just having a Coke Zero.
Yeah.
Went out with him last night. What do you want from the bar? Text message because I'm running late. I just want a water. I get there. It's soda water with accidental gin poured in it. And it's been purchased already. I'm like, that's not really what I meant when I said water. And he's like, it's soda daughter with such bad additions. So like, I know you think you're doing me a favor and it's really sweet, but you're not. Like,
Yeah.
so it's hard, right? You do the actions of the people around you as well, and that's why it's very difficult to say, here's a solution for one person, because you don't know what somebody's dealing with at home. And that's where I can step in and go, let's look at the entire environment, your habits, your routines, what's serving you, what's not serving you, and how can we edge you towards a healthier optimization of what you're doing now without saying you've got to scrap it all and start fresh. Because realistically, people are in routines because it serves them in some way, shape, or form.
Well, you go towards pleasure and you run away from pain, right?
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of the time, that pleasure that we're running towards is like going to end up in long-term pain.
Yeah, we delay
we'll just delay it.
The gratification, right? And we suck at delayed gratification. Like, I don't want to go to the gym every single day for the rest of my life so I can stand up out of a wheelchair on my own when I'm 90. But here we are and I'm doing it, and that's fine. But a lot of people don't want to, like, I just want to go out and lay in bed an extra couple of hours, because the instant gratification of like, I'm getting it now and it's joyful now is so much more tempting than, oh yeah, I'm going to remember that I'm going to feel good at 90.
No, I think about what I'm going to be like at 60, and I'm going to be 60 and sexy, girl. That's my game plan. I'm not.
I'm channeling Samantha Jones, Sex in the City. That's always going to be my vibe. Is like bit spicy, you know, still sexy at 55, sleeping with 20-year-olds, and like I'm all for it.
That's literally how I feel like in terms of like like I won't suntan, I won't do it. Like I want to look like a porcelain doll, like a vampire when I'm in my 60s.
But isn't it interesting that we go, as women, we go for aesthetics over health most of the time?
Yes.
The goal is I want to look a certain way rather than I want to function a certain way. It's not like I want to do this because I want to avoid cancer. Nobody finds that sexy. If I say, well, you'll still be able to fit in a size 8 jeans, they'll be like, cool, sign me up.
Yeah.
So I have to work with that, knowing that that is human behavior and what we value as a society. And sometimes it's setting exactly as I was just coming back to, is like, it's around setting parameters of what's going to drive that person and what's going to fit for that person's lifestyle. Is it 4 days a week alcohol? Is it, well, this person never drinks, so that's not an appropriate goal, you know, like they never drink, but actually their thing is they smoke marijuana. Cool. What can we do? And there's supplements that can help with that. Like NAC is proven to reduce smoking and of nicotine and marijuana, of cannabis. So there's often things we can do that are both supplemental and lifestyle that they don't have to be like cold turkey. I meet people where they're at and then just drive a little bit of change in the right direction. That's always the goal. Be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm that person that's always like, just give it to me now. I'll just implement everything.
But
that's been me though. My career's been
A-type, darling, because your A-type personality of like, I will succeed at anything that you give to me and I'll do it to the nth degree.
Yeah, and I think also too, my career's had a really big, been a driving factor to that because of obviously how I look. But I got really invested in feeling good and educating myself from a really young age about what's going to make me look good, what's going to make me feel good.
Sure. Because it was part of your career, right? It's very, very important for income for someone who's in the modeling or industry or TV or whatever.
Yeah, because we were all being marketed skinny teas when I was 19, 20. I remember when it first launched, it got sent to me and I had no idea what it was. We had no clue what it was. And it was literally
just a laxative.
It was a laxative tea and they were calling it skinny tea and it was healthy for you. And
I mean, of course, your stomach's going to look flat if there's no matter in there because you've had to run to the bathroom.
I used it and I literally,
I'm so sorry.
Everything emptied in me over.
Please don't. Anyone who's listening to this, that's not a nice thing.
That's horrendous. No,
and also the mineral deficiencies that come off the back of it because you're not actually absorbing stuff properly through your gastrointestinal. Because the speed at which it travels through your gastrointestinal.
Oh girl, my gut lining came out.
Anything. Yeah. And I think
my whole gut lining came out.
And people think I don't care. I'd happily have a couple of quick poos and then have a flat stomach because I'm going out for dinner or whatever. It's not about that. It actually has health implications.
It does. Yeah.
And so, it can seem really exciting and whatever.
You can get leaky gut. There's so many horrendous things.
Dinner, even just like, I literally can't sit here and talk any longer. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah. And the stomach cramps and the sweats and oh my God, it was literally horrendous. I never touched it again after that.
Guys.
It was horrible.
We're going to finish off with a couple of fast fire questions.
Yeah,
so Because everything that we want to ask you will turn into a 20-minute
I
conversation.
know, I'm sorry.
So
I
no,
do-
it's great.
I've got
That's
so
what
many
no.
opinions.
We're definitely gonna have to go
We could-
round 2 or 3.
Yeah, literally
for
talk
sure.
to you for
But
hours.
Fast.
Let's do it.
fire.
My
Fast fire.
cortisol's elevated.
Okay, fuck, marry, kill, but they're all diets.
Okay.
Carnivore, keto, vegan.
Fuck carnivore because it's a tool for short term
Mm-hmm.
for blood sugar regulation. Marry, I'd go keto, but done really well, like really strategically. I don't love it, but it's the best of the bunch. And then,
Vegan's dead.
vegan.
They're dead. You've killed them.
You've
You've
killed
killed
them.
all the
They're dead.
vegans.
Bad, isn't it?
Well, actually, I should you got fuck, marry, kill, but maybe like you can remarry pescatarian.
Okay.
You can ream.
I would go
Like-
I go pescatarian any day.
Yeah.
Any day over.
Yeah.
I feel bad to plant-based. I should just reiterate. It's because it's done so poorly. There's
Yeah,
never
yeah.
enough protein and there's
Right,
never
yeah.
enough B12. If someone plans it properly, you go for it. Amazing for heart health and cholesterol and a million different things.
Yeah.
Really actually quite a healthy diet if you do it well.
One wellness trend or fad that you would ban forever.
Fasting
Fasting.
for women.
Okay.
I agree.
You were like, don't tell me I do it every day.
What?
Fasting for women.
Yes.
Okay.
If
Boom.
you are going to do it, 12-12 as a woman,
12 hours on, 12 hours off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
realistically.
12 days on, 12 days off?
No. Please don't do that.
This
12
is-
hours.
This is fast. This is fast.
Sorry,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
Go, you
yeah.
go.
The most overrated health food.
Health. food.
Kale.
Really?
Sorry. Oh, the shock on your face.
3 most underrated supplements that are worth it.
Oh, I love this question. My supplements game is strong. NAC.
Hmm.
So N-acetylcysteine. You guys can Google it. I won't go into detail. I would say saffron. Highly underrated, but it's only just coming out into the more common space. And ashwagandha.
My
Lovely.
2 favorites.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, do you want to get this?
Yeah, give us your top 3.
My
Can
top
you,
3.
Can you give me your top 3
Oh,
supplements?
yeah, you swear by.
Mine definitely ashwagandha.
Yes.
Definitely saffron. And then I think
I'm going to say chlorophyll for you.
yeah,
that a supplement?
chlorophyll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, chlorophyll. I put chlorophyll in my
been on that
water.
like 10 plus
Amazing.
years.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
then, because you obviously love it so much, what are the tangible benefits you've seen?
Skin, energy, just overall health and wellness.
Beautiful.
And then also, I kind of want to add like 2 more, but I know it's only 3. But it's like
You go. You're
fish
allowed.
oil, and
Yes.
collagen.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Interesting studies about collagen at the moment, pro and cons. I take it.
Yeah.
I take it. I'd rather preventatively take it because I've got the luxury to do so. Would I call it an essential for everyone? Maybe not.
Yeah.
There's very mixed reviews about when you actually take collagen, does it equal more collagen in the body?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because something going through your digestive tract doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually absorbing it and putting it to good use. And like there's the micronization and the size of the particles that you're consuming can impact like the absorption and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So there's mixed reviews. I still take it. I still personally
Yeah.
anecdotally feel like it makes a big difference to me. And when I don't take it,
Yeah.
I notice.
Yeah.
So I keep it. But
Yeah.
it's I wouldn't, for me, it's not a baseline supplement.
Yeah.
But I agree with the fish oil.
Yeah. And NAD.
Oh, do you have the injections or
Yeah.
tablets?
I get the IV.
IV.
Yeah.
And
Done it a few
it's,
times.
you notice a big difference in energy.
I actually love it. I just know I'm already a very high energetic person. I don't have symptoms of anything really bad. Like I'm a very
Beautiful.
healthy person. I like that's my routine. I live by that.
You notice it's different. You change when you go off of the stuff that you're doing because you've built such a good routine.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
when Ellie went away for Big Brother, you're there for 3.5 weeks or whatever.
I'm
change
convinced
complete
that's what gave me my gut issues.
Probably.
Yeah, complete
Yeah.
change of food overnight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then quarantine for 14 days as well.
And then
because-
also there's a thing called microbial transfer. Whereas you're using the same living areas as different
Absolutely.
people.
Saliva on knives and forks.
Oh
and-
my God, that
Yeah.
like it
All sorts.
irked me.
Babe, this is fast.
Sorry,
fire.
yeah, sorry. Okay.
A food you swear by. What's a food you swear by?
Food I swear by. That's really hard. Chocolate
Mhm.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Period. Something you can't unsee or unhear within your industry that makes it. Ross, you've zoomed in way
It
too
makes it
hard.
hard for you knowing.
Yeah.
Like you live in this space and you're like, oh, I know that this is just one of those
Fads.
or it's a dirty thing that the industry does. Like you see, like Dope Sick and all the big pharma, how they had
Sure.
these structures in place. It was a business, and
Yeah.
then maybe they gave drugs to people. Like that was just disgusting.
I'm going to say something really controversial. I'm probably going to get cancelled.
Do it. Let's
Okay.
all
You're
get cancelled
talking. You're
together.
talking to the cancelled queen.
What is it? What is it?
So many people might not know this. Nutritionists and naturopaths, and I hate this about my profession. I love my profession, but I don't like this. When we prescribe supplements, we get kickbacks. It's across the board. It's not brand specific.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if I
wow.
prescribe through a practitioner portal, I have to be a registered practitioner to get access to that portal. And they make sure you do your CPE points, so you continue in professional education. They are really on top of your insurance and blah, blah, blah. You have to really be of a high standard to get on these portals to prescribe therapeutic products. We then will prescribe them and they'll go, you get 10% of all the sales that come back for everything that you put. So our incentive is to give people more supplements.
Yeah.
Do I think that's fair in our industry? Do I think it's okay to incentivize giving people more and more supplements over improving their diet? I think it's horseshit.
It's the wrong incentive, eh?
And and there's going to be people in my industry that are trying to make a buck,
Yeah.
that are struggling, that are going to say, yes, you need all these expensive supplements. And people
Yeah.
are coming to you as a trusted, qualified human
Yeah.
saying, okay, well, of course I need all these things because she's saying that's what I need. And they don't have the knowledge to question it and say, oh, that's weird. Why am I taking Paraclaws or whatever it's called? And they think
Yeah.
it sounds good.
Yeah.
So I think I don't love that about my industry. I was actually really,
Yeah.
really upset when I got access to, I was like, great, I've done my degree. I'm pumped about this. I can start doing therapeutic goods. And I get on there and I'm like, that actually makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
really
like,
bothered
oh,
me.
this is actually how it all works.
Right.
Yeah.
But then when we
like-
think about pharma, it can be so much more worse and at a bigger scale.
Yeah.
So it's like the best of a bad situation, I guess. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would just hope that you're seeing a practitioner that has your best interests at heart and is not financially driven. Separate combo.
Separate
But
combo.
it needs
Okay.
to be, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
okay.
I do want to talk about
Well,
it.
last question.
Yeah.
Last question
Yeah.
of fast fire questions, Ellie.
Well, actually, there's two because there's another one that I want to ask.
okay,
But
we'll just ask that. then. We don't ask this.
coffee or matcha?
Coffee. I was like, do I say the nutritionist answer or do I say the one that I do? I'll be honest.
I cycle mine every I have a coffee one morning and then I have a matcha the next morning.
I was going to say, can I do both? I'll just like double fist it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't mind.
Wow, there's going to be so many good clips from this.
I know.
All right.
Oh my God.
Well, look,
I should have come with my two.
on that note, I don't know how
Sally O'Neill, the double fister.
Wow. Wow.
Best way to double fist, in my opinion. Just saying.
Oh, wow. On that note, it's been awesome chatting with you.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much
so
for having
good.
me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity and the platform to get stuff out there about nutrition that's so sorely missed, I think, from Western medicine and hopefully help some people in the process.
Yeah, it's been so fun to just pick your brain. And I guess because we're so sold to on social media about fads and about products and all these kinds of things. So it's just nice to hear someone who's not like just motivated by selling something. And the only thing that you're really selling is health and wellness.
Yeah.
So you're
it's really
selling the
nice to hear.
information, you're selling the correct information
Yeah.
and the avenues to go down. Which
And
is really
yeah.
For me, it's more, I try and give that information for free as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
The individualized component of it is what I have to commercialize, is what
Yeah.
I sell by someone saying, I've tried everything based off the free information. It's not worked for me. I've still got these symptoms. Walk me through what works for my body. What do I need based on testing, based on my symptoms, based on what I'm doing in a day? And how do we apply the right protocol rather than trying them all on? That's where I specialize.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
be sure to put your links and
we'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
put 'em-
you.
put 'em
And
all
I
in the
always
show
say,
notes
like,
as well.
I am all about free value. So if anybody does have a question and they're like, I just want to ask something, absolutely slide into my DMs. I get it all day, every day, and it entertains me so much. It's
We
fun.
love the sliding into the DMs.
Oh.
But guys, if you're listening and you love this episode, we would love for you to share this with your friends. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
if you know
Rate
someone
us-
who's struggling with their health journey, maybe just be like, this is a good watch.
Yeah. Send it over. Like let them to, this is how we share information these days about, what's good for us. And
Absolutely.
we all want our friends and family to be feeling and
Thrive.
looking good. We
Yeah.
want them to thrive.
Optimal health, not like survival mode. That's
Yeah.
what we want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Sally.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you guys
Thanks, babe.
oh, no, my pleasure.
You guys are so cute.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for listening to In Real Life. If you'd like to show your support, you can subscribe on Spotify, and don't forget, you can watch full episodes on Spotify or YouTube. We'll catch you next time.